Hey there! Welcome back to Music Theater Sound Lab, where we talk about all facets of writing and producing great theater music, like a music producer. Today's topic comes to us as a request from a viewer, so shout out to Harry LeBlanc for this one. Harry writes, or part of what he writes is, I'd love future videos exploring the relationship between songwriting and dramatic structure. What kind of melody, tempo, harmony goes best with which dramatic beats? Well, Harry, I love this question, so today we attempt to tackle some of it. Alright, so in order to answer this, initially I found myself gathering a list of a bunch of musical devices, but then I quickly remembered that as dramatists we need to be thinking dramatically first, always. Sure, we get to add in things that we like, otherwise what are we even living for? But to work in order of priority, the stuff that we like has to come secondary to what serves our story. It just has to. And that shift in priorities is the difference between what we do and what a songwriter does in creating a song that's just fun to listen to and feels good. Let's go to the Sound Lab. Alrighty, so first I want to listen to a piece of a song and then talk about the way that that makes us feel. Totally emotional and physical response here, no music theory talk. Let's use Till We Reach That Day from Ragtime. We'll refer to the OBC recording from 1998. First of all, before we begin, I cannot express to you how much I love this score and this recording. And I actually just saw a concert version of this summer at Tanglewood, backed by the Boston Pops, and it was unspeakably magical out in the open air. It was incredible. So in case you're not familiar with the plot to Ragtime, I'm going to put the Wikipedia entry for the show in the description for greater context. But here is a wildly summarized setup for this song. Okay, so set at the turn of the century against the backdrop of intense segregation and racial injustice, this song is sung by Black mourners at the funeral of one of our central characters, Sarah, who was senselessly killed while trying to seek vindication for her fiancé whose car was vandalized by a group of thugs. Okay, so that's the best I could do with, again, really reducing this plot to nearly nothing, but definitely check it out for yourself. It is worth knowing if you don't know it already. So we're going to start 30 seconds in where the lyrics begin.
There's a day of hope. May I live to see when our hearts are happy and our souls are free.
This has to be said. This is a true masterpiece. So what do I feel when I hear this? What do I feel? Again, not technical. What do I feel? I feel tension. I feel dis-ease. I feel sorrow. I feel suspense. Also, some kind of exhilarated sort of rush that starts to happen about halfway through that makes my eyes go wide and makes me breathe deeply. Again, these are things that I feel like I would pick up on whether or not I knew the plot to this story. But now, I want to know, aside from the plot, why am I feeling this way? Let's actually hear it again, and we're going to listen for some more technical musical and audio things that are happening. Let's kind of dismantle this machine a little bit.
There's a day of hope. May I live to see when our hearts are happy and our souls are free. Let the new day dawn.
Okay, musical things that I'm hearing. A slow tempo. This makes me feel a sense of fatigue. Almost no percussion, almost none, but there's a hit on the second beat of each measure, and not just any old hit, but a pitched drum that sounds almost like a deconstructed military parade. It sounds like some sort of tom or some sort of timpani or something like that. And to my ear, it provides a sense of stillness and reflection. So now, aside from that, the lead vocal is extremely exposed, which it both kind of draws us in and allows for massive dynamic growth later, which is one trick in orchestration and production that if you want something to feel big and explosive, one of the best ways to actually do that is make the moment right before it that much smaller or softer. Contrast, right? As in like a principle of art. All art. Contrast. Now that pitched percussion that we heard is actually playing a pedal tone. when we're moving through a series of chords, but one note remains the same. I keep playing that same note on the bottom. This is a great device when we're looking to present conflict, because when that pedal tone is part of the chord that we're playing, we can kind of just say that's an inversion of the chord. We rearrange the notes in the chord and nothing really special is happening there. But if the pedal tone is a note that is not really in that chord, then it presents some conflict with the rest of the harmony. And since our ears and our emotions are always kind of looking to achieve a resolution, a pedal tone can be a really handy way of creating suspense, which I definitely did feel. Now, listening to the lyric in connection with these ideas, I also hear what's called a 1-6-4, or a tonic second inversion chord landing on the word day. We're going to start to get both pretty technical, but also subjective here. It's a real blend. First, the technical. So a 1 chord, a tonic chord, is the chord built off of the key that we are in. So in this case, that's G major. Now, a 1-6-4, or a tonic 6-4 chord, is when the default position of the notes within that chord is flipped over. That default, or root position, as it's called, sounds like this. The note that the chord is named after, aka the root, is the lowest note being played. So if I rearrange those notes and put the last one in the group on the bottom, I still get the same chord, but it has sort of a different perspective to it. It sounds like this. There's our chord that we started this song with. Now, here comes the subjectivity. So I personally use this inversion, or voicing, this arrangement of notes, for a 1 chord when I want to achieve a sense of warmth. If I could put a word to it, that word might be home. Home, but with great depth attached to it. It's like home, but it's kind of loaded. I told you we're getting subjective here. And I feel like the phrase, "there's a day of hope," set against the backdrop of that chord, gives me feelings of respect, feelings of safety, sort of, but not exactly of resolution. Right? Suddenly that note starts to present conflict. And the horns, with their pure, simple tone, let's hear that. That pure, simple harmony, those are thirds. It's almost like they are raising their heads with hope. Then we have the next phrase, "may I live to see." So here, I'm hearing everything going down, 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 down. There's one inner line that one of the horns has, which descends by a step and helps lead us to this minor chord. Let's hear that again.
May I live to see.
And not any minor chord, but a minor 4 chord. What the heck is that? Well, this is significant just in that it is what I like to lovingly call a borrowed chord. That's not the real name for it. That's how I think of it, though. It's a chromatic chord. It is not built into the key of the song, but it does fall right in line with the musical style. Ragtime is full of chromatic notes, or notes that are borrowed from another key, if you will. So this is a chord built on a C, but it's not a C major chord. This is a C major chord. Really, what we are getting is a C minor chord. So our ears perceive this as dark or unexpected, or it pulls at our heartstrings. It's a form of chromaticism in its own way. Now, the singer does not say this, but to me, that minor 4 chord is telling me that she does not believe that she will see this day of hope. She's saying, "may I live to see it," but the harmony is her subtext here. It's saying, I don't think I will. I don't know that I will. And this is why it's pulling on our hearts, because it's creating dramatic irony. The words may lie, but the music tells the truth. And in that space of incongruity, is the drama. She's saying, God help me to get where I need to go. And the actor then gets to act, I see no hope here. I don't know that this will ever happen for me. On top of that, we still have our pitched percussion pedal toning away. Suspense, suspense, and more suspense. When our hearts are happy, notice that we get not only one minor chord here, but two. Wow. In Western music, our ears tend to perceive minor chords as bad or dark, relatively speaking, and kind of very dependent on the context, but if we hear it in isolation, those are the words that usually come to people's minds. Now, of course, that's wildly subjective too, but either way, these associations are quite the opposite of happy, right? Whether or not they are, quote, real or accurate or, scientifically founded, they're still happening. And so we use them to our advantage as dramatists. Okay, so here is where I get this expansive feeling in my chest. And our souls are free. What the heck is going on here on souls? Okay, that's only a piece of that, but, on souls, it's that same minor 4 chord again. It's that C minor chord. And guess what? It is layered over our never-ending pedal tone, which is that D. But here's the magic. The melody note that lands there is a full octave higher than before. The notes of the melodic phrase overall are ascending rather than descending like they did the first time. And the chord that follows is also a borrowed chord. So the first time it was... May I live to see. So it went down the first time. The second time, same chord, new context. Here it is. Now here's something additionally cool here. So the chord that follows that minor 4 chord, that C minor chord, is also a borrowed chord. It is a major 2 chord. The 2 chord, or the second chord of the series in the key of G, is usually A minor. A, C, E. But here, I get even more of that feeling of lift. Because my C is moving to a C sharp. So good. I could argue that this feeling of lift kind of supports the idea of the soul leaving the body. Our souls are free. Lift, lift, lift. Then the melody goes up another half step on let, only this time it moves to what's considered a blue note. So a blue note is a minor interval where a major would be expected. Kind of a bluesy sound. So the roots of this originate in jazz and other black music, which is the central conceit of our show. Brilliant. I would argue that this note, in this case, it's the 7th. 1, 3, 5, 7. That's how we'd identify that note. I would argue that this note stems from what wants to be a C fully diminished 7 chord. Again, it sounds like... Okay, C sharp, E, G, B flat, over that pedaling tone. Oh, my friend, tension for days. Days. Then we get to New Day Dawn. So here I notice the shape of the melody more than that 1-6-4 chord again. That tonic inverted chord again. Let the New Day Dawn is set melodically almost as a trumpet call. And on dawn, guess what? We get that minor 4 chord again. So we keep coloring these ideas with this sense of pain, of anguish, and we feel that through these chromatic or borrowed notes. O Lord, I pray. This is set much more quietly, dramatically speaking.
Oh Lord, I pray.
You might say that it's set as a literal prayer. And for those who maybe don't write their own lyrics or their own music, when I'm saying set, I mean take the lyrics and put them to music in an effective way. And harmonically, we get not only another borrowed chord, which is a major 3 chord, the 3 chord, or the chord built off of the 3rd note in our series would be B minor. But instead, we get a B major. So it's a B major, but within that chord, we also get a sharp 9. That's when the 2nd note of the notes within the chord is raised by a half step. It sounds like this. Pretty sweet chord. It's got this mellow sort of sound to it, but also dissonant. It says, I don't know, it feels like fall colors to me. It does not feel very straightforward. So that sharp 9 that we're hearing, that's this note. Without that note, still some tension because of this note. That's the 7th. If I take away the 7th, still cool, but it's, I add this note, this sharp 9, and it just gives me a little more nuance. Oh Lord, I pray. So cool. So, okay, so the last phrase, we'll never get to heaven till we reach that day. We've got a minor 4 chord on the word never. Again, giving us this sense of mourning. And on heaven, we move from a 1-6-4 to a 6. It sounds like this. And when we play it in that rhythm, now this is a more traditionally gospel bit of movement as far as the timing of the chord changes. So again, we are reinforcing the world and the genre of our show. Just so breathtaking. Anyway, that's what I hear. So that was 16 bars of pure majesty. I'm sorry, but it was. And we could go on with the rest of the song, but to tell you the truth, I don't know who will still be listening by this point. If you are still listening, hey, please comment and let me know if you got something out of this and or if you want me to maybe do more analyses like this. Should we dig even deeper? I will let you take the lead on this. Again, thanks so much to Harry LeBlanc for submitting that really awesome question. If you are not already part of the tribe, I'd love if you'd hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling really spicy, you can buy me a coffee by hitting the link in the description below. Every bit helps support both me and the channel. I'll see you next time.